Hi Octbox fans, Rick Tyler here, part of the Octbox design team. We've come down to the canal at Thorn just to do a bit of filming, and the main aim of the video today is to go through the various wheel kits that are available now to fit the Octbox system. I often hear people talking on social media asking what's the best wheelbarrow for them, and what I normally say to people is there's three factors you need to consider, because it's not what works for someone else, it's what's going to work for you. So you need to consider sort of gear and amount of gear you're going to be taking, the ground you're going to be covering, and your own physical attributes, and they'll determine what works for you. So if you're going to places like Ireland and Northern Holland where it's going to be really rough, difficult banks, you really need to be looking at the single wheel, because the double wheel a lot of the time is not going to get through all the obstacles. What I mean by that is one wheel's going past a pothole, the other wheel's dropping in. So if you're going down heavily potholed, rocky situations, the single wheel is for you. And if you're not really physically strong, then really the only option for you is you've got to start lightening your gear up. For the other anglers that are fishing the commercialised venues, mountains of gear, if you're a strong lad, you might get away with a single wheel. You probably will. I know Andy May does. But the problem with a single wheel, when you've got a mountain, if it's not perfectly centred, it can start to pull left or right. So if you're a bit, you've got a bit of a back problem or anything, you're talking double wheel. And what we're introducing now is a frame that you can fit in the back that will convert that single wheel to a three wheel and that double wheel to a four wheel. So what we'll do now is we'll get the gear out the van, and we'll just run through everything. And then later on, Tom Scholey is going to be joining us with his mounting of gear, and we're going to see if we can get Tom's gear into the luggage range we've got, and then just show how it can be loaded in a balanced manner, because that makes a big difference to the amount of effort that you're going to put in when you're moving it down the bank. Right, as I mentioned in my introduction, the various wheels we've got. This is the XL wheel. Been the backbone of the barrow system since the Octbox's conception. Now, the initial conception of the Octbox was going to be a wheelbarrow. So when we built the chassis, we just built sockets like we would on any platform into the front of it that takes the wheel kit, and in the back of the wheel kit or the chassis, two handles. So you're not having to cart a separate platform. That's great for natural venues and the anglers that are built like Man Mountain or going on rough terrain. The double wheel kit we introduced for the angler that's taking a mountain of gear for that extra bit of lateral stability. So he's not continually trying to keep it upright. Very stable, fits in the wheelbarrow the same way. So to enhance those two wheel systems we've already just shown you, that have been the backbone of the Octbox, we've recognised there's a lot of anglers out there that actually want even more stability and help. So the anglers have got the big wheel. This chassis I've got in front of me will convert that to a three-wheel system, and the anglers have got the double wheel. This will convert it to a double. And it's a very simple system. It fits into the back of the seat box, sockets where the handles would normally go, and then you can see at the bottom the wheels are height adjustable. So you set the height, so depending on if you're using an XL wheel or the double wheel, and same again, depending on your height, you set the height of the handles. It's got an adjustable adapter bar in the middle, so it doesn't matter if it's a D36 or a D25, it'll fit both. And this chassis will be used for our manual system, but for the electric motor system we're bringing out, it's exactly the same. The only difference is there'll be electric components in for a variable speed control. So what we'll do now is we'll go on and look at the motorised version that will work with the electronic version of this. Right, following on from the frame I've just shown you that converts it to a four-wheel or two-wheel, that's also available for the electronic set, and this is being introduced in the next couple of months, and similar set to the manual system. It's simply an electronic motor with two brackets that go straight into the front of the foot plate. The battery carriage, we'll be supplying it with a lithium battery. We reckon we're going to be around the £550 price, and 200 pound of that is lithium battery. The wheels will have a clutch on them, which means if you're going around on a tight corner, the inner wheel will move around slower. And we're going to have this set up later on, seeing how it performs. Well, I've just been joined on the bank with Tom Scholey, and he hasn't disappointed. He's bought his mounting equipment on what he thinks is necessary for a match. I have only got one question, Tom. I've searched, where's the kitchen sink?
Well, I was in the Boy Scouts, Rick, and the Boy Scouts taught me, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. I haven't always got time to prepare, so I just bring everything, and that way, you know, it's no good to you sat at home, is it? So I do believe in covering my options.
And it's so tidy as well. Yeah, it's so organised.
I think it is. I mean, I know you're planning to put this into your new luggage in a minute. And
I'm hoping I'm not going to mess up your organised state here.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. And also, you know, you can see how clean everything is, so I don't want you dirtying anything.
I'll try not to. Yeah. I've only got one thing, Tom. We've been studying how you do things.
Yeah.
And I've noticed before the draw, you always mix your ground bait.
I do.
You do 2 mixes, and you've got your, you know, if you're fishing soil, your soil mix, and you've got your ground bait mix. And then when you get to the peg, you sort of do 2 handfuls this, 8 handfuls, as we've seen on the video.
Yeah.
Following that, we've developed a bait bag.
Right.
With the view, so instead of you having to cart your bucket all the way down, you decant your ground bait mixes into trays.
Decant? I've never heard that one used with ground bait before.
Very posh. I know. Yeah. And then you canvas covers over them, stop and dry that, and you put them purposely in the bait bag together with all the other bait, which then fits nice and neatly on thing. And that comes with, you know, so you take a bowl with you and your riddle, so you can still do your handfuls.
It's all pre-mixed before, it's then transported to the bank in your system.
Yeah, so what we won't do when we've packed everything, I'll show you how we will replace those 2 buckets to go to the bank in a more, it's difficult to say organised manner because you're already clearly very organised, but I'll try.
All I will say is I don't like change, so this better be good, I won't be using it, all right?
All right, let's go.
Rick, what have you done to my stuff?
Calm down, Tom, calm down. We've tidied it a little bit up so it'll make it easier and quicker to load on the rod back, onto the trolley. What I'll do now is just go through everything and show you where everything is. We don't do rod bags, so your rod bags haven't changed. And we don't do stink bags, so we've put 1 keep net in here and your other 3 keep nets are in there. Everything else is in these 3 bags.
You know, I can't remember the last time I was this clean. You don't feel right, you don't feel natural.
People will struggle to recognise you. I do know that, Tom.
Come on, show me how you've done it.
I will do. Right, Tom, we've sorted yourself out into 3 main bags. The outrigger bag for obviously all of your long metal work. Your outrigger bar and everything goes nice and neatly in there. Your bait bag, we did talk about not having to take a ground bait bucket, and the reason for that is you've got your bowl and sieve in there, and you've decanted it because it was already mixed. I'll take your reel cases out so I can get to the ground bait tray at the bottom, but basically this bait bag is designed to take 2 trays next to each other, comes with a canvas cover, ground bait goes in there. You either put your reel cases at the bottom and ground bait, whichever you prefer. Yeah, but the fact of the matter is you're not having to cart a big long bucket. Goes nice and neatly in there. I'm not prepared to take it all out, but we'll get a close-up later on. All of your spam, all of your sweet corn, all of your bait boxes are in there. Bearing in mind, of course, you've also got spare space on your side table, which is fitted across your seat, where you can put your bait, towel, catapult and everything ready to go. Close the lid down so you're all organised, so when you get to your peg you've just literally got to take your table off, switch it around, put it, open the lid up, and that's ready to go. Coming to the main hold all now. Now just for the guys that don't take as much gear as you, we do a standard hold all which doesn't need this bottom compartment, which is designed for a second pole roller. I've only put 1 keep net in. We don't do a stink bag. You've got another 3 keep nets in there, so we're assuming most anglers would still have a stink bag with them. We've got a compartment in here we haven't even actually need to use. Okay, so you could put a warm bit of fleece clothing in there if you needed to. This main compartment, you've got your second pole roller and a few, your pole sock, that sort of thing. And then all of your other metal work, your pole roost, feeder arm, all of that sort of thing has been neatly put into this compartment. So I think what we'll do now, Tom, is we'll get the wheelbarrow, we'll load it all on, because that's the advantage of having it nice and neat this way. You load it up in seconds in a balanced manner, which makes going down the bank so much easier. Right, we've moved all of the bags to the trolley now. We're going to get it all loaded on. By having it nice and neat like this, we can get loaded up really quickly. We've developed this extension bar to put into the front here to give us even more room, and that is designed for the bait bag. Okay. By putting that on the front, we're going to add a lot of weight as a counterbalance to this system. Even though it's 4 wheels, you're still going to want to lift the back end of the box when you steer it. Right, we've just tested it over some really difficult ground, and I'll talk about balance later on down the thing where I've got a set of scales just to show, but I'm really pleased how it's performed. So we can talk to the electrical boffins to say, you know, what we did notice is in the divots, because we were taking a set of scales, if it's just on level ground and there's no obstacle, it only takes about 5 or 6 kilos of force to move this amount of load, and that's amazing. But when it's locked in a divot, it's taking more than 30 kilos of force. So if you find your wheel is in a divot from a standing start, you're going to have to give it a bit of a push, obviously, to be sensible. But once you've got it going, you know, it's going to go quite well. The other thing to note as well is the motor system. All electromotors have a safety device where if they're suddenly finding they're taking too much pressure, they'll just temporarily cut the power for a few seconds, and you'll notice that if you're going long. So I think what we'll do now, get back to the main track, see what it goes like over actual smooth ground as well, and then we'll just take the scales just to show what I'm having to lift at the bottom, at the back. You can see here, I'm lifting that, look, with one little finger because I've balanced it correctly, which means I can steer even this monstrous load easily. So I've got a lovely trolley all loaded nice and neat with power assistance, but you know, whether it's the 4-wheel or the 2-wheel or the powered version 4-wheel, you know, balance is everything. And you can see here even things like the rod bag, you've got a heavy end of the rod bag and a light end of the rod bag, so just turning a rod bag round can make a massive difference how you balance the load. And what I suggest is, I bought this set of scales from Aldi, it cost me about £3. Once you've loaded your barrow up, test the thing. If you're having to lift more than 10 kilos at the back end here, you've done something wrong. Okay. So to give you some idea of what I'm lifting at the back here, okay, right, that's just over, that's 7 kilos dead. Okay. Now, an interesting fact here, when I put Tom's rod bag on the trolley with the thick end at the front, I literally only had 2 kilos at the back. So to me, that's a little bit front heavy. You've got to imagine if you're going to hit a divot, it's going to want to tip up. So just turning a rod bag round made a massive difference. So give it a play with your own gear once you've got it loaded on. But you can see here with the barrow, I've got the capacity to load it all in a balanced manner, play around with it, and then that makes it so much easier to steer.
Well, I must say, Rick, I was a little bit dubious when you suggested this overhaul of my tackle. I'm actually quite impressed with the, well, very impressed with the outcome. Not only is it neater, it's more compact, and I think the most important benefit from my point of view is it can be easily loaded onto the barrow. You know, the fact that I haven't got to play Jenga with 20 or so items
I mean,
to get them on there.
You look at a lot of guys and you're thinking, how on earth do you not lose anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think just thinking about the luggage, the main area of development there has been by watching guys like yourself. Yeah, and then just thinking where we're going to put it on a barrow, so we could balance it. And the main thing that at the start of it all was, if you went to a playing field, you wouldn't put both of your kids on the same side of the seesaw.
No.
And that's the principle here. And if you just think about your own gear, because it's going to be different for every angler, when you're loading it up, just think about where you're putting the bags and that.
Yeah.
Balance it out, you save yourself a lot of hassle.
Excellent. Obviously we've got the motorised system on this today. You can also do the same thing with a normal system, with a standard front wheel. Or
There's absolutely no difference, and we were pushing the manual system. It was just as easy. Where the motorised system helps you is if you've got a 1/4 mile walk or a 1/2 mile walk, just takes the pressure off, trying to in terms of trying to push it forward.
No, I don't know whether you know, but I am actually 30 now, and I am getting used to that sort of luxury as I get older. So I was just wondering if I could have a little go with it.
Okay, mate. Yeah.
And,
So just take it down to that little post there.
I'll see you later, Rick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about far enough, Tom. Yeah. Where you going, Tom? Tom? Don't leave me, Tom.